Bonnie Franklin.
Here we are. Another year has passed, and they're giving out the Tony Awards again. Oh, it is an exciting time, not only for the nominees, but for the audience, too. I've got a hunch that everyone here has that tingle that you get just before the curtain goes up. And I'll bet there are lots of us who are remembering the first time we ever saw a curtain go up, got bitten by the theater bug, and had to come be a part of it. And we came, all right, from the rock-bound reaches of New England, the urban centers of the West, from the deserts and the lakes, from the snowy mountains, and the South, with our accents of magnolia and honey. We came because of live theater.
American Airlines announces the arrival.
I came back from California about 10 days ago. Oh, and it was terrific. The excitement of landing in New York, some attentive photographers waiting for me. Very good for the ego. And I couldn't help remembering the first time I arrived here, a long time ago.
Another 100 people just got off of the train and came up to the ground, while another 100 people just got off of the bus and are looking around, and another 100 people who got off of the plane and are looking at us who got off of the train and the plane and the bus maybe yesterday. It's a city of strangers, some come to work, some to play. The city of strangers, some come to stare, some to stay, and every day the ones who stay find each other in the crowded streets and the guarded bars, by the rusty fountains and the dusty trees with the battered bars, and they walk together past the postered walls with the crude remarks. Another 100 people just got off of the train and came up to the ground, while another 100 people just got off of the bus and are looking around at another 100 people who got off of the plane and are looking at us who got off of the train and the plane and the bus maybe yesterday, maybe yesterday.
The League of New York Theaters and Producers welcomes you to Footlights, the 32nd annual presentation of the American Theater Wing's Tony Awards, brought to you live from the Shubert Theater in New York City, starring Edward Asner, Lauren Bacall, Mikhail Baryshnikov, Carol Channing, Bonnie Franklin, Robert Guillaume, Julie Harris, Helen Hayes, Bob Hope, Gene Kelly, Linda Lemon, Jack Lemmon, Hal Linden, Liza Minnelli, Roy Scheider, Dick Van Patten, and numbers from this year's 4 musical nominees: Ain't Misbehavin', Dancin, On the 20th Century, Runaways, plus a special number from The Act. This portion of Footlights, the 1978 Tony Awards, is sponsored by Revlon. Revlon, the people who help make the world a little more beautiful, with a wonderful new makeup collection, Beauty Maker 78. And by Polaroid, inventors of the 2 great revolutions in modern photography, instant pictures and now instant movies.
Good evening. I'm Robert Guillaume. I was born on the banks of the Mississippi in St. Louis, Missouri. And the first time I saw a live theater was Carousel at the St. Louis Municipal Opera. 20 years later, the first acting job I had was in Carousel at Caramoo House in Cleveland. Now, just last year, I was a Tony nominee for Guys and Dolls. So I know firsthand what kind of nervousness is going on out there. So let's get on with the show. Now, the first, you all will have to pay particular close attention to this next part because it gets a little complicated. Now, in 1965, Liza Minnelli won a Tony for Flora the Red Menace. In 1972, she won an Oscar for the movie Cabaret, which was, of course, 2 years earlier, a musical for the Broadway stage, which won a Tony. Now, just hold on. Now, in 1973, she had the nerve to win an Emmy for her performance in Liza with a Z. Now, this girl is very good if you dig talent. Now, tonight, she is a Tony nominee for her electrifying performance in the act. Here's why.
Lady sat on the porch of the farmhouse. The little old lady rocked back and forth and crocheted. Oh, listen to the crickets. Look at the rooster. Smell the hay, I told her. And see the pretty little egg that the hen just laid. The little old lady took off her glasses and squinted. And how she responded literally had me floored. She said, it's nice to meet someone who appreciates the beauty that nature initiates. It's sweet to hear. But me, my dear, I'm truly bored. I miss those city lights, those sparkling city lights, those twinkling city lights, the lure in my eyes. I love those city lights, or the color of city sights that shine under city lights, tinting the skies. A new moon hay gives me a fever. There's the rooster, where's my cleaver? So laid back, my mind might crack. And when the pressure's up, my pressure's up, city lights. Oh, I long for the city lights, the bulbs of those beaming brights, beckoning me there, be there. Take your crickets and go shove 'em. Urban crises, how I love 'em. Grime and grit and pretty city lights. Rop-a-dippity-dee-pow, shh. Rop-a-dippity-rop-a-dippity-dee. Pow, wop-a-dee-dee, rop-a-dee-dee-dee. Walk in the lanes to pick a daisy that could drive a person crazy. Homemade bread lays here like lead, and Polly's peach preserves oh, please my nerves. City lights, all over city lights, the calls of those peeping brights, they're gonna be there, hey, be there. Styes and stables sure are smelly. Let me sniff some kosher deli, brightly lit by pretty city lights.
In the industry, they call this part of the show housekeeping. I knew they wouldn't let me get away without a little housekeeping tonight because of the program soap. Anyway, all it means is that the nominees this evening were selected by a panel of 5 experts and 428 qualified industry voters who certify that they have seen the performance of each nominee, filled out their ballots, and the secret results have been tabulated by the accounting firm of Lutz and Carr. That done, here is my friend, Dick Van Patten.
Good evening. You know, it's wonderful to be here at the Shubert Theater. The first Broadway play I was ever in was in 1935, and it was in a play called Tapestry in Grey, right here at the Shubert Theater. I played the son of Elisa Landi and Melvin Douglas. Since then, I've been in more than 25 Broadway plays. Now, in a lot of those shows, I played what we call the supporting role. So I thought that you might be interested in hearing some of the artists that have won the Tony for the best supporting performance. Let's see now. There's Al Pacino and Jane Alexander, Jack Albertson and Hume Cronin, Alan Arkin and Sandy Dennis, Elizabeth Ashley and Walter Matthau, and there's many, many more, but I think 8 is enough. Don't you? And now the nominees for the outstanding performance by a featured actress in a play are Starletta Dupois in The Mighty Gents, Swoosie Kurtz, Tartuffe, Marion Seldes in Death Trap, and Ann Wedgeworth in Chapter 2. And the winner is Ann Wedgeworth in Chapter 2.
I'm in shock. I want to thank you all so much for voting for me, the ones that did. And I just had to bring this in case this happened. Neil Simon. I want to thank Neil Simon for giving me a chance to play this wonderful part in his beautiful play. And I hope he's feeling better. And our sweet producer, Manny Eisenberg, for producing the play and lots of other things. And and our brilliant director, Herbert Ross. I know without his help, I wouldn't be up here tonight. And the wonderful cast that I'm working with. And there's one thing I got to say. There is an actor I would like to be remembered who's no longer with us tonight. A wonderful actor. His work speaks for itself, but I would still like to. John Casale.
The nominees for outstanding performance by a featured actor in a play are Morgan Freeman in The Mighty Gents, Victor Garber in Death Trap, Cliff Gorman in Chapter 2, Lester Rawlins in Da. And the winner is Lester Rawlins in Da.
Some few years before his death, I was privileged, blessed to work with on his last tour and to come to know and become a friend of a wonderful man and a great actor, Claude Rains. And was that a cue for me? No. One weekend when I was visiting him up in his home in New Hampshire, I was alone in the living room and I was looking at his awards on the mantelpiece, and I picked up his Tony, which is, of course, as close as I ever thought I'd get to one. And I didn't hear him come in, but he came into the room and suddenly he was standing beside me, and he reached up and put a hand on my shoulder and he said, dear boy, there's something wrong with the theater if you don't get one of these one day. Well, Claude, I guess there's nothing wrong with the theater. To my family and friends for believing in me, to Carnegie Mellon University for preparing me, to Richard Astor and Bill Alexander for persuading me, to Lester Osterman, Marilyn Strauss, Mark Howard, and the incomparable trio that is Craig Anderson, Melvin Bernhardt, and Hugh Leonard for allowing me, to the kind of cast you dream about working with, for helping me, and to you for accepting me. Thank you.
There are 4 nominees this year for Best Musical, and what we're going to do is show you a little bit of each so that the audience at home can decide which one they think should have won. Now, the first one is Dancin, which doesn't have much of a storyline at all, but it is a wonderful celebration of emotion and movement. Dancin.
Benny Goodman, Sing, Sing, Sing.
of applause. Oh, remember the first time you heard it? And it was for you. Was it a high school play? The local amateur group? Summer stock? Huh. The sound of applause is habit forming, and you only get it when you perform live in front of an audience. So, in order to hear more, you study and you audition. Oh boy, how you audition. And then you get a job. You're a dancer on Broadway. An awful lot of us got started that way. And when it comes to dancing, who knows better than Mikhail Baryshnikov?
Thank you very much. Good evening, thank you very much. That's exactly the way how many of us began. You know, when I was a little boy studying dance in Russia, I had a chance to be on stage in the ballet. I was a little soldier in Nutcracker, and that was it. Of course, I never dreamed in a million years that I would end up on Broadway, but here I am. I think the point is that theater and dancing are wonderful things to do. And some of the most beautiful things happen right here on Broadway. For example, in the second nominee for Best Musical, Runaways. This original, moving, and complex work is about children and parents, and the runaway in everyone. And I know really what this means, believe me.
Even from
The nominees for Outstanding Choreography are Arthur Faria for And Misbehavin, Bob Fosse for Dancin, Ron Lewis for The Act, Elizabeth Svados for Runaways. And the winner is Bob Fosse for Dancin.
I've worked on a lot of shows, and I think I've had the most fun I ever had in my life in working on dancing. And for those who know something about me, that means I was just merely depressed and not suicidal. There's a lot of quick thank yous I'd like to say, because that's the boring part, but they deserve something. And I've got to say it. Sam Cohen, the Schubert Organization, Columbia Pictures, Patty Grubner, and Jules Fisher. But most of all, and this time I want to slow down, I want to thank those thoroughbreds, those performers, those dancers. They're the best, and thank you very much.
For the American Theater Wing, Miss Irene Worth, twice winner of the Tony Award.
Theater, what a hypnotic thing. A performance. That raw, open connection between event and audience.
Stage door canteen.
The American Theater Wing invented the stage door canteen during World War II, but we did not leave our heart there. The Theater Wing is an everyday, not a once-a-year thing.
Freedom ain't a state like Maine or Virginia. Freedom ain't a...
Today, we give performances to scores of hospital and prison audiences during the year. Our Saturday Theater for Children is an event that's already reached over 1 million youngsters.
If you want to be an actor, you must love to be on the stage.
Our scholarships and seminars for young actors, directors, designers. It's a day-by-day thing we celebrate. The American Theater Wing. What a celebration.
Thank you. I suppose you're all wondering what I'm doing here tonight on a show that celebrates theater. How soon they forget. You know, in 1927, I did a show called Sidewalks in New York at the Knickerbocker Theater with Ruby Keeler, Smith and Dale, and Ray Dooley. My goodness, what a thrill it was for me to see my name up in candles. In the 30s, I was in Ballyhoo of 1932 at the 44th Street Theater for the Schuberts. Then I went in Say When at the Imperial Theater in 1934 with Harry Richmond and Linda Watkins. In 1935, I was in the Ziegfeld Follies with Fanny Brice, and I introduced a song called I Can't Get Started With You, and I sang it to a very beautiful red-headed showgal who later turned out to be Eve Arden. Oh, boy, it was something else. In 1936, I moved over to the Alvin Theater with Jimmy Durante, Ethel Merman, and Ethel and I introduced a song called It's De Lovely by Cole Porter. And then I succumbed to the lure of Hollywood and spent the next 40 years making pictures for the Late Late Show. Of course, I didn't know it at the time. Anyway, this morning I took a walk along Broadway past some of the theaters that I had played, and I was glad to see that most of them are open again. You know, I almost made it back to Broadway and the Sunshine Boys, but Neil Simon was very unreasonable. He wouldn't let me play both parts. But it's great to be here, and this is where I belong, back on Broadway. In fact, that's... In fact, that's what the telegram said this morning that I got from the Motion Picture Academy. So I'm not in on a free pass. And aside from telling you about my life in the theater, I have a special reason for being here tonight. You know, last Monday I had my 75th birthday, and let me tell you, that is... That's a lot of Stein's makeup and also Max Factor, I want to tell you. But tonight we honor a man who has spent even more. I was born in England, and Irving Berlin was born in Russia 90 years ago. And we both came to America as children, so I feel a special affinity for a fellow immigrant. Irving was a success right from the start. He was riding around in a limousine back when I was still doing my human fly act trying to get back into my room at the Lincoln Hotel. Now, he has written so many wonderful hits at ASCAP, they don't raise the flag in the morning, they raise him. He is the flag, I'll tell you. America's always had more than its share of brilliant and gifted songwriters, but no one has turned out more great songs or songs that were more in tune with the hearts of America than Irving Berlin. Irving Berlin's songs are a reflection of music in America during the past 50 years of American peace and American war, a prosperous America, and America trying to fight its way out of a Great Depression. And what songs? This is the Army, Mr. Jones. I left my heart at the Stage Door Canteen. How Deep is the Ocean? Easter Parade. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Alexander's Ragtime Band. A Pretty Girl is Like a Melody. I Got My Love to Keep Me Warm. The songs from Annie Get Your Gun, Miss Liberty, Call Me Madam, There's No Business Like Show Business, White Christmas, and what has become our second national anthem, God Bless America, and so many, many more. So tonight, the League of New York Theaters and Producers take great pride in presenting the Lawrence Langer Memorial Award for Distinguished Lifetime Achievement in the American Theater to Irving Berlin. Age has some privileges, and Mr. Berlin has asked if we would deliver the award to him, so I'm off. And if I can get the taxi to get back here in time, I'll be back for the finale. Thank you very much.
I remember so well when the song I sang in the Broadway musical Applause was used as the opening number on the Tonys.
What is it that we're living for? Applause, applause. Nothing I know brings on the glow like sweet applause.
Oh, that was 1970. I'd been nominated as the best supporting actress in a musical that year. It was a night I will never forget. Melba Moore won. I didn't. Chubby, freckle-faced Bonnie Franklin from Hermosa Beach, California, had been on the Tonys. Could there be more? A television series. But of course, I didn't know that then. You see, that was the dream for many of us, to do live theater, but also to appear in motion pictures and in television. I wonder if Baryshnikov thought when he was studying in Leningrad that someday he would be the star of the movie Turning Point. When Linda Lavin was doing The Last of the Red Hot Lovers on Broadway, did she ever imagine that she would be a waitress on television? The star of TV's Alice.
Thank you. This, cute, chubby person behind me, hopeful,
is me in my first show in New York City in 1960, the revival of the Gershwin musical, OK. I'm very excited to be here tonight, to be presenting the Directors' Awards, to be home. My first director was my aunt, Ethel Sacknoff, in Portland, Maine, where I grew up, in a production of Street Scene by Elmer Rice. And I have worked with some splendid directors since then, 3 of whom are nominated tonight. The nominees for Outstanding Director of a Play are Melvin Bernhardt for Da, Robert Moore for Death Trap, Mike Nichols for The Gin Game, and Dennis Rosa for Dracula. And the winner is Melvin Bernhardt for Da.
My first Broadway show, Linda Lavin, is the star. Isn't this wonderful?
It is wonderful.
Don't we have the best life?
Yes, go ahead.
Can we get in tight on this? I hate to direct somebody else's show, but my mother in Buffalo always sits close, and I want her to see this. I went to drama school, and one of the first things that they taught us was that what happens on a stage is the result of a collaboration of a lot of people. And I want to thank some of the people who brought me here tonight. First of all, the author of Da, wonderful Hugh Leonard. Thank you, Jack. And next, the talented and dedicated company. Thank you, Maya Dillon, Lois DeBanzi, Ralph Williams, Lester Rollins, Richard Sears, Sylvia O'Brien, and our 2 extraordinary stars, Brian Murray and Barnard Hughes. Thank you for the wonderful times. And I want to thank Gilbert Parker, who first gave me Da to read, and the Hudson Guild Theater, an off-Broadway theater, who gave us our first home, and Lester Osterman, Marilyn Strauss, and Mark Howard, who moved us to Broadway. And one more name has to be mentioned, someone that all of us connected with Da think about a lot. Thank you, Nick Keys. And thank you all. I'm very proud and happy.
After this debut in a musical, I spent the next 10 years of my life in New York in musicals on and off Broadway. I have great respect for the work of a director of a musical. The nominees for Outstanding Direction of a Musical are Bob Fosse for Dancin, Richard Maltby Jr. for Ain't Misbehavin, Harold Prince for On the 20th Century, and Elizabeth Swados for Runaways. And the winner is Richard Maltby Jr.
Oh my goodness. This has been a labor of love from the time it began 5 months ago in a theater, in a cabaret in the Manhattan Theater Club. And of course, everything is owed to the Manhattan Theater Club and to Lynn Meadow, the artistic director, who I personally owe a great deal to. I'm sure I'm going to leave out somebody and offend somebody for all time. I owe a lot to the wonderful staff who helped with the show. Murray Horwitz, who brought the idea to me and contributed so much to it. Bill Elliott, who contributes his brilliant orchestration, vocal arrangements. Luther Henderson, who was adorable in every way and who pulled the music together. This is a show of nothing but musical numbers. It would be crazy not to share this award with the man who staged the musical numbers, and that is Arthur Faria. He was a brilliant choreographer. I I also had a wonderful group of producers who gave me everything that I needed to do the show right, and I think it's somehow lucky to do a show after they have just produced a show that was directed by Bob Fosse. I especially want to thank Manuel Eisenberg, who is a wonderful producer, the Genuine article, and lastly, the extraordinary, truly extraordinary cast of Ain't Misbehavin'. Particularly Armelia McQueen, Ken Page, and Andre DeShields, who are not nominated, but who are part of a wonderful ensemble. Someday I would like the Tony Committee to find some way to honor what I consider the highest achievement in the theater, the collective effort of an ensemble of actors. And most of all, to the guiding spirit of all of the joy that you see on the stage with that.
You've seen two of the nominees for this year's Best Musical. You've seen Dancin' and you've seen Runaways. Here's the third, Ain't Misbehavin'. It's a musical celebration of the works of performer-composer Fats Waller. Here's the entire cast in a spoof of the 40s.
Hey, Cat! Yeah, man! Here's what we can do. Well, all right. There's an inn in Indiana with a very goodly clientele
of Junior J
from the Boiler Wakes, who thought her singing swell. She'd a voice so sweet and low, I guess her dress was even lower still. Selling vocals to those yokels was her first important thrill. Need a springboard. Here is the best in the land. Rise and rejoice, for you don't need a voice. Join the ladies who sing with a band. Who's in the Hollywood spotlight? Who do producers demand? They're making muses of all the chanteuse. It's the ladies who sing with a band. Flat tone, wow, you never heard a singer with curves. You'll see, I see 'em around your bandstand. If you've a tropical torso and your digestion is grand, you may do finer than Jenny or Dinah, the ladies who sing with a band. From high atop the Waterford Hotel in downtown
beautiful
Cleveland,
Casanova Ballroom in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Here are the very lovely,
the very adorable,
the very talented,
the very gifted
Waller Girls.
Scientific days, everyone's futuristic, so you'll find it always pays when you are modernistic.
Good evening. I'm Roy Scheider. Thank you. The first live show I ever saw was on Broadway. The play was Happy Birthday, and the star was the remarkable Helen Hayes. I remember thinking at the time, where did they get that wonderful lady to play that part? What did I know? A decade later, I was auditioning for a production of The Skin of Our Teeth that the Theater Guild was doing, and I was told to go down to the Lyceum, and I stood in the wings, and who was standing on the stage but Miss Hayes? I walked out there, I started my number, I began to tell her about the ice floe coming down from the north, and she began to crack up and fall about, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? The director comes running down the aisle, and he says, Miss Hayes, what's the problem? What's the problem? She says, there's no problem at all. She said, he's very funny. So needless to say, I got the role, and I went on tour with the first star I ever met. Now that's a story with a happy ending. Unfortunately, it's not true. I made the whole thing up. No, it is true. It is true. And to be happy in your work is a wonderful thing. And to be nominated for a Tony, as these four ladies have, is even more wonderful. The icing on the cake. The nominees for outstanding performance by a featured actress in a musical are Nell Carter, Ain't Misbehavin', Imogene Coca on the 20th Century, Anne Reinking, Dancin', Charlene Woodard, Ain't Misbehavin', and the winner is Nell Carter.
There are so many people I need to thank, but first let me thank my agent, Richard Astor, for standing by me in more ways than one. Then I have to say thank you to my cast, because I didn't do this by myself. I really did. I didn't expect. I didn't even come to. Oh God. I want to thank Amelia McQueen, Charlene Woodard, Andre DeShields, Ken Page, our director, the producers, the Schuberts, Manny, oh, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, still a heavyweight contender, the First Lady of the American Theater, Miss Helen Hayes.
I certainly remember the first look I had at live theater. I was 6 years old. We lived in Washington, D.C., and this happened at the National Theater there. I was sitting in the first row center of the Peanut Gallery with my mother to see The Merry Widow with Donald Bryan and Lena Abarbanel. And when the show was over, I didn't want to leave. I was always very quiet, docile child, but this night the passion of the moment became too great for me, and I started yowling. And as I was carried out, I was still yowling, I don't want to leave the theater. And so, you see, I never have. For outstanding performance by a featured actor in a musical are Stephen Bookvor in Working, Wayne Cilento in Dancin', Rex Everhart in Working, Kevin Kline on the 20th Century. And the winner is Kevin Kline.
This is really amazing. I will be very brief. I want to thank the entire company, inspired by the spirit of Hal Prince, who have made it a joy every night, who have encouraged me in the real sense of that word. I needed courage. They gave it to me, and I need some more. Now I'm going to join them in the wings to get it. Thank you.
This portion of Footlights, the 1978 Tony Awards, is sponsored by the Bell System, people using technology to keep your phone system the best in the world. And by Dodge, and Dodge dealers everywhere will bring you the 1978 Diplomat Coupe, Diplomat Sedan, and Diplomat Wagon. The winner of 5 Tonys and last year's winner as Best Actress, Miss Julie Harris.
There's nothing in the world as wonderful as our theater, and I'm so excited to be here tonight to present the award for the outstanding performance by an actor in a play. But first, we want to announce the performance, the prize that was given to the outstanding regional theater, which goes this year to the Long Wharf Theater in New Haven, Connecticut. And now, the nominees for outstanding performance by an actor in a play are Hume Cronin in The Gin Game, Barnett Hughes in Da, Frank Langella in Dracula, and Jason Robards in A Touch of the Poet. And the winner is Barnett Hughes in Da.
That really is the icing on the cake. I want to thank some people that helped me get up here tonight as concisely as I can. I want to thank Jack Hugh-Leonard for that wonderful play and that wonderful part. I want to thank Mel, Bernhardt, and Brian and that wonderful cast for the work and the joy in the work. And I want to thank Gail Parker and Milton Goldman and my wife for the faith. And I want to thank Craig Anderson and the Hudson Guild for making it happen. And I want to thank Lester and Marilyn and Mark for giving us a home and taking us uptown. And most importantly, and last of all, I want to thank Nick Keyes, Da himself, for having lived. Thank you very much.
I had thought my cup runneth over when I danced on the Tonys. Well, in 1976, I presented the Choreography Award to the geniuses who devised a chorus line. Oh, neat, huh? But funny, as I look around me tonight at my friends in the audience and my fellow actors up on stage, I begin to get the feeling that there is something more.
My first experience with the theater, came right here in New York. I was born in New York, and I lived here. I had all of Broadway to see, but I never went. Because in those years, I was more interested in being a great musician or a big band singer. And then one day, I was on the road, and I happened to see a road company of guys and dolls. And I thought to myself, hey, I can do that. And I came back to New York and started doing that, and I've been doing that ever since. And here are 4 ladies who do that very well. The nominees for the outstanding performance by an actress in a play: Anne Bancroft in Golda, Anita Gillette in Chapter 2, Estelle Parsons, Miss Margarita's Way, Jessica Tandy in The Gin Game. And the winner, Jessica Tandy in the Gin Game.
Time is very short, and there are far too many people to thank because I've been at this for 51 years, and it's all contributed. But I'm most proud to have this, and I do thank you most sincerely for your faith in me, and I shall treasure it. Thank you very much.
This is the last nominee for the Best Musical of the Year. On the 20th Century. Incidentally, one of the exciting show business fairy tales that can still come true is the understudy who takes over and becomes a star. Now, that's exactly what happened 2 months ago to Judy Kaye, who now plays Lily Garland in this musical comedy about a train ride from Chicago to New York in the 30s. As we join them, the train is about to leave on the 20th Century.
Enjoy what's stationary when you are at home or at a swell hotel. Now is yours at 50 miles an hour. Mama Sam jump to serve you when you ring your bell.
All aboard, leave cares behind you. Say goodbye to ties that bind you.
Have your pants pressed, have your hair curled. Nothing but the best for this a wonder of the world.
I'll be with Lily Garland, right here with Lily Garland, my Lily. We'll travel close together all across the land. We're almost hand in hand. It's more than I can stand. To know my favorite star is not so very far. That somewhere there her scent will fill the air.
Our heart with emotion reels when this prince of his starts to make his daily journey. Either tie and wine or else can fly to town.
Hello. The first time I saw live theater was in Kansas City, and I loved it. The actors, the costumes, the sets, the lighting, I loved it all. Before the show went on the air this evening, 3 design awards were presented. The best set design was won by Robin Wagner for On the 20th Century. Best Costume Award for his designs for Dracula was won by Edward Gorey. And Jules Fisher was chosen as the best lighting designer for his work on Dancin. I first acted in the live theater at the University of Chicago. After a number of years, I got to New York and finally had the pleasure of appearing on Broadway with Jack Lemmon in Phase of a Hero. Did a lot of Shakespeare. I don't suppose you could ever do enough, though. Unfortunately, most people have never had the chance to hear me sing, which is why they chose me to present the award for the most outstanding performance by an actress in a musical. Madeline Kahn, On the 20th Century. Woo, 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 woo. Eartha Kitt in Timbuktu, Timbuktu. Liza Minnelli in there. Frances Sternhagen in Angel, Angel. And the winner is Liza Minnelli in the act.
Oh, my nerves. Thank you so much. I think the thing that I like to do most in my life is to work, and to work hard. And I think the thing that I like second best is when somebody said you did a good job. So thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody connected with our show. They know who they are. Thank you.
In 1964, Hello Dolly won the Grammy as the best song of the year. Now, I want to make a point, or I would not be so tacky as to mention another award on this program. But did you ever stop to think how many of these best songs over the years came from Broadway musicals? Now, in 1959, there was Mac the Knife from Threepenny Opera, and in 1962, there was What Kind of Fool Am I from Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, and in 1975, we had Send in the Clowns from Little Night Music, and in 1969 there were 2 songs from here, Aquarius and Let the Sun Shine In. Now, wasn't that nice for the theater? Yes. Well, now, the nominees for the most outstanding actor in a musical are Eddie Bracken, Hello Dolly, John Cullum, On the 20th Century, Barry Nelson, The Act, and Gilbert Price, Timbuktu. And the winner is John Cullen.
What a terribly exciting thrill this is. It's wonderful to be associated just with this group of people, and to win this award is incredibly exciting and gratifying to me. Obviously, I owe a great deal of indebtedness to so many people I couldn't possibly mention them all. Most of them have been mentioned, and a number of them have already been awarded tributes tonight. I did have a great deal of things I wanted to say, some of them serious, some of them very witty, and some of them satirical, but obviously it's getting rather late, and our producer, I can see that Alex Cohen has removed my cue cards, so I would just say that I'm very happy to win this award, and I'm extremely happy to win it doing the thing that I enjoy doing most in the world, acting.
Tonight, you've heard about Emmys and Grammys and all that, but did you ever stop to think how many of your favorite movies came from Broadway musicals? There was Oklahoma and Carousel, Flower Drum Song and The King and I, South Pacific, The Sound of Music, and you know who those are all by. Rodgers and Hammerstein, of course. They wrote some of the best. Then there was Wonderful Town and The Music Man and The Side of the Street That Was West. There's Camelot, Carnival, and Can-Can and Kismet, but that's spelled with a K. Sweet Charity, Man of La Mancha, Oliver and Cabaret. Porgy and Bess and Showboat, and Annie Gets Your Gun have melodies we're all still singing, and that reminds me of Funny Girl, and Hello, Dolly, and Fiddler on the Roof. Guys and Dolls and Mame and My Fair Lady to add to the proof. With Vivian's Rainbow and Brigadoon and Our Hair and Grease and The Wiz, we think that films are just super, but we also think here's where it is. And we want to say to the movies, no matter how far you may roam, you're always welcome. Come back to the stage. Just think of this as home. We were just having a little fun. Oscar Tony loves you.
Time. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I worked at the Pittsburgh Playhouse. I ran a dancing school, and it was almost inevitable that I would come to New York and try to get into theater. And I did, and I'm glad. And now, just before we went on the air this evening, the award for the best book of a musical went to Betty Comden and Adolph Green for On the 20th Century. And for the best score of a musical, that went to Cy Coleman, Betty Comden, and Adolph Green for On the 20th Century. Now, the nominees for the best musical of the season, all which you've seen tonight, are Ain't Misbehavin', producers the Schubert Organization, Emanuel Eisenberg, Dasha Epstein, Jane Gaynor, and Ron Dante. Dancin', producers Jules Fisher, the Schubert Organization, and Columbia Pictures. On the 20th Century, producers the Producer Circle 2, and Runaways, producer Joseph Papp, and the winner is Ain't Misbehavin'.
The house crew. From a lot of theater people, we'd like to thank a lot of theater people. I'd like to thank Lynn Meadow, Barry Grove, Dick Tickton of the Manhattan Theater Club, the Schubert Organization, Bernard Jacobs, Jerry Schoenfeld, Phil Smith, a glorious cast, a glorious creative crew, the very talented and gracious Richard Maltby, and personally, I would like to thank a few friends. Mr. Bernard Gersten, Mr. Jose Vega, and a friend of mine who isn't here tonight, Mr. Neil Simon. Thank you very much.
terrible time problem, but first, I would like to announce that before we went on the air, the most innovative production of a revival was deemed to be Dracula. Accepting for the producers is Elizabeth.
With so much good luck, we're going to risk a little bad luck. And Dracula leaves you with a quote from the Scottish play. Yet who would have thought the old man had so much blood in him?
I'll try it once again. Accepting for the producers of Dracula is Elizabeth Ireland McCann. Who is not here? All right. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I cannot remember when I did not want to be an actor. I think it was it was stamped on me. My father was a Boston businessman, and he got involved in an amateur production of Gold in Them Thar Hills, and there was a part for a 4-year-old. I was 4 years old. I got the part, and that did it. You see, there was only one line. I really can hardly remember it, except for the incredible sensitivity that I brought. Well, never. I was hooked, you see. Now, for the sake of time, fade out and fade up, and by the magic of movies, we end up on Broadway. And my first part is Leo Davis in a revival of Room Service, and that was a big moment in my life. But I think the biggest moments in the life of any actor, hopefully, ultimately, for the audience, are when you pick up a script and it's good. Be it a drama or a comedy, it's good because it tells us about ourselves. And over 2,500 years ago, Confucius said that without the force of words, man could never know himself. And with that in mind, the nominees for the best play of the season are Chapter 2, author Neil Simon, producer Emanuel Eisenberg. Da, author Hugh Leonard, producers Lester Osterman, Marilyn Strauss, and Mark Howard. Death Trap, author Ira Levin, producers Alfred DeLiagra Jr. and Roger L. Stevens. The Gin Game, author D.L. Coburn, producers the Schubert Organization, Hume Cronin, and Mike Nichols. And the winner is Da, Hugh Leonard, Lester Osterman, Marilyn Strauss, Mark Howard.
We don't have a cast, we don't have a director, we don't have producers, we have a family. I'm very happy they let me be one of them. This is theirs and somebody else's. Da, thank you.
On behalf of my co-producers, Marilyn Strauss and Mark Howard, a lot of quick thanks. First, to Hugh Leonard for writing the warm and wonderful and humorous Da, the Hudson Guild Theater, where it's first saw the light of day, and the wonderful cast that we've assembled, and the cast that was so wonderful in Da, and are such wonderful people. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to the Tony voters, you people, for choosing Da as the best play of '78, because that's always a thrill to win a Tony. But to win it this year is 3 times as big a thrill because the competition was so good. We had 3 wonderful plays. Neil Simon's play, we had Death Trap, and we had the Gin Game. So we are happy 3 times over. Thank you so very much.
That giving prizes and forcing creative artists to compete with each other is opposed to the basic idea of art. Well, that's not really what tonight means to us. First of all, this is our company picnic, the one time each year that we all get together socially. Second, we hope that this evening we have reaffirmed our awareness of the enormous contribution to our national life that is made by the arts. We applaud the musicians, performers, the composers, writers, artists, the creative energies that combine to give us the songs we sing, the words that make us laugh and cry, and the artist's visions that delight our eye. Wherever these energies converge, in films, in music, in television, or live on stage, as we have celebrated tonight, they make our lives richer.
There's no business like show business like no business I know.
I love being a part of all this. I hope you had a good time. Good night.
Everything the traffic will allow. So when you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra love. There's no people like show, people like smile when it all goes. Yesterday they told you you were not so far. At night you open up, there you are. Next day on your dressing room they hung the star. Let's go on with the show.
And this is Ed Hurley.
You get work before the show.